Okay, just got back from seeing Deadpool 2. So basically, the plot's pretty much all in the trailer. There's just a couple of things to add to it. Namely, right off the bat, Deadpool is setting things up, and he grabs a little um, a music box that says Logan on it, and it's the impaled Wolverine from the end of Logan. That starts playing All Out of Love by Air Supply, and then Wade blows himself up. He's doing this because 6 weeks earlier he had a hit go wrong. The people he tried to kill came back at him, and in the melee that ensued, Vanessa Marina Baccarin's character wound up being killed, and she and Wade were trying to have a baby at that point. Anyway, Wade blows himself up, but he doesn't quite die yet, and he manages to reassemble, and Colossus picks him up and takes him back to the X-Mansion with the hopes of making Deadpool an X-Man. It's at this point we see the return of Negasonic Teenage Warhead and her new girlfriend, Yukio. This is not... I don't think this is the same actress that was in The Wolverine, though. This was a different, take on the same character. And anyway, at this point, they get called about an incident involving Fire Fist, a mutant who can project fire from his fists. And it turns out this is Rusty Collins, who you might, if you've seen my X-Men Inferno review, you might remember he's a pretty prominent character in that he was part of a group called the Exterminators, and then he wound up joining the New Mutants. And basically he plays into Cable's story because Rusty was being held at this, basically it was like a, what are they called? With the camps that... the conversion therapy camps. He was being abused. It was basically a mutant conversion therapy place called Essex House. Mr. Sinister is not in this movie, though. Anyway, it's called Essex House, and they were abusing him, and he wants to get revenge and to kill this person. And it basically winds up turning him into a mutant serial killer, and he winds up killing Cable's family. So Cable's wife and his daughter Hope. So Cable travels back in time to kill Rusty before he can do any of that. But because of some shenanigans from Deadpool, he and Rusty wind up getting stuck in a super prison where they're wearing these collars that negate their mutant powers. And because Deadpool's mutant ability has been negated, he is now suffering from cancer again, and he's not as effective. It's that point that Cable arrives. He fights. He tries to kill the kid. Deadpool stops him a couple of times. In the midst of this, the collar breaks off, and Deadpool's powers return. And in the midst of this, Rusty hears Deadpool basically say, like, Wade goes, "We're not friends. I don't care about this kid. He just keeps kind of following me around." And he and Cable basically wound up getting teleported to another point. As this is happening, Wade is kind of put into a coma, and he sees Vanessa again, and she basically gives the message, like, you need to learn to be selfless and care about others. You can't just care about yourself. And he realizes he actually doesn't need to care about this kid, and that he can't let Cable kill this kid. And so they set about, drives them to create X-Force, consisting of him, Weasel, that's T.J. Miller's character from before, Bedlam, the Terry Crews character, Domino, Zeitgeist, Shatterstar, Vanisher, who we're not entirely sure if he did. He either showed up or he didn't. And then Pete, who's just a regular guy who answered the Craigslist ad. And this sets up the scene where they parachute in on this convoy because of the damage wrought to the prison. They have to transfer all these mutant prisoners to another prison. And in the meantime, there's this unseen prisoner, this giant monster of a creature that they've been keeping in the basement, and Rusty manages to befriend him. And also in the meantime, Weasel gets kidnapped by Cable, and Cable intends to torture Weasel, but Weasel just gives everything up right off the bat. This sets up the whole scene where they're parachuting in, and you see Pete, who's just a regular guy, and is Wade's favorite member of X-Force, parachuting down and looking really out of place. And unfortunately, it turns out it was a high wind advisory on that day, and because of that, they all get blown off course except for Domino because of her mutant luck powers. And this results in basically all of X-Force being killed except for Domino and Deadpool. And they confront Cable again, and it's then that Rusty shows off his new friend, the Juggernaut. It's not Vinnie Jones, though. They did a different voice, and they CGI enhanced him so he's really big. And this leaves... he rips Deadpool in half, and they march off. And this basically forces Cable and Deadpool to team up. They have to go back and they have to get the X-Men again, Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Yukio. And they confront Rusty at the Essex house before he can burn everything down. And basically they try to reason with him. Basically Cable is still gung-ho on just killing Rusty and getting it over with, but Wade talks him into letting him have one chance. And as this is happening, he says, okay, fine. And he takes the mutant power negating collar and he puts it on again. He says, no, if you're going to kill anyone, you're going to kill me. And basically, Cable tries to kill Rusty. Wade takes the bullet for him, and Rusty learns that, someone actually does care and someone was really trying to help him, even if it didn't always seem that way. And it does change the future, and Wade dies because the power negating collar is on. But then Cable has a change of heart, and he travels back in time again. Unfortunately, this is the last of his time travel device's powers, so he he exhausts his chance to return to his home, and instead takes an old skee ball token that Vanessa had given Wade, and then it wound up in Cable's possession, and he puts it into the spot where he shoots Deadpool so it blocks the bullet. They then take the collar off, and that's kind of how it ends with Rusty going to join the X-Men. But later, in the mid-credits scenes, there's no post-credit scenes, just the mid-credits, we see that Negasonic Teenage Warhead has fixed the time travel device. Deadpool takes it, he travels back, he saves Vanessa, he then saves Pete, who is his favorite member of X-Force. He then travels back to X-Men Origins Wolverine and kills the fake Deadpool so he could set the timeline straight. He then travels back again to 2009 and shoots Ryan Reynolds in the head, preventing him from taking the Green Lantern movie. And that's how it ends. So, overall thoughts on the film? A lot of laughs. The action sequences weren't as frenetic as the first one. They didn't have a lot of the kind of zany madcap nature. I think they were a little more straightforward in this. Overall, performances were all pretty good. Was it ZZ Dietz? Just a sec. Okay, Zazie Beetz, I'm winging that pronunciation, as Domino was pretty enjoyable. Josh Brolin as Cable was great. Again, Ryan Reynolds, of course, was great. We didn't quite get a lot of Brianna Hildebrand as Negasonic Teenage Warhead. She kind of sort of vanishes. The X-Men are really missing, and Colossus and the other X-Men are basically missing in the middle of this film. It's just the X-Force assembly. I will say this, unfortunately, X-Force is just not utilized very well at all. I mean, Bedlam, Shatters, they're just there for the brief bit, and then they're killed off. And it's like, why did you get someone as prominent as Terry Crews just to kill him off, you know, after 5 minutes? That seems like kind of a waste. There's something about this film that was a little just kind of lacking. I mean, maybe it was, again, the underutilization of X-Force. I don't know if they're going to do a Deadpool 3, or if Deadpool 3 will eventually basically be X-Force. Like I said, Brolin's Cable is great. Ryan Reynolds is great. Unfortunately, the rest of the supporting cast are pretty miss. They were kind of lacking. The action scenes, like I said, were pretty paint by numbers. They weren't spectacular. There were a couple of good, cool shots, but other than that, they just they weren't spectacular at all. So yeah, I'm going to give Deadpool 2 a B. I know that's what I kind of gave the last one, and the last one was definitely better than this, so maybe it's more like a B minus. Yeah, whereas that one was more of a B plus. But yeah, I found it, like I said, I just found bits of the film to be a little lacking.
Come on, let me show you what it's all about.
Wednesday, it's all about Kevin and Winnie spending the night.
I had to be calm. The voice of reason.
Winnie, wake up, 7 o'clock.
The Wonder Years. Then it's Doogie like you've never seen him before.
Tell him what every surgeon has to be.
Doogie Howser after the Wonder Years on.
Okay, trailer time, and yeah, we got a lot of trailers again this time. I don't know what it is with AMC and them doing this. We had 10 trailers again, and first off we had the Grinch movie, and really this wasn't so much a trailer as it was these weird interstitial things that kept popping up in between the trailers. I don't know if it's some sort of cross-promotion thing, but yeah, it was really stupid looking. After that we have Hotel Artemis, the movie about the hospital for criminals, basically. Then we had Mission Impossible Fallout, then Equalizer 2, then The First Purge, which, yeah, Equalizer 2, the first Equalizers was pretty good. It looks to be very much the same. The First Purge, yeah, I have not liked any of the Purge movies. I think they're stupid. I mean, they're not enjoyably stupid. I think they're just stupid. Exactly. I know nostalgia critic Doug Walker is kind of this pariah on the internet right now, and that's understandable. But the one thing he did nail in his review is poking all of the holes in this plot that don't make a lick of sense. You can't just cure evil by making it okay to be evil for one 12-hour period. It just doesn't make sense. After that we had Tag again, then The Predator again, then Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen biopic, which looks good, but from some of the early reports I've heard, I have some problems with that. I don't like that they're skimming over the AIDS crisis and how that took Freddie Mercury from us. It's just like you're leaving a major part of the story out of this, and it doesn't make any sense to do that. Like what? Because people will feel bad? Like it doesn't. It's just stupid. After that we had Sorry to Bother You, a comedy about a telemarketer who basically, he's an African American who acts white, and he ascends to be like the head of the corporation or something. It kind of looked funny, but yeah, it didn't spark too much of an interest. And then, Happy Time Murders, a puppet murder mystery. Basically, you know, it's basically a parody of like the Muppet movies. You know, the Muppets and regular humans interact on a regular basis. And this is a murder mystery, an R-rated murder mystery with a puppet. They don't say Muppet, but yeah, effectively a Muppet detective teaming with Melissa McCarthy. It's R-rated. It looks like a super extended episode of the old Greg the Bunny show, and to be honest, the Greg the Bunny show looked funnier than that. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So next movie is going to be Solo: A Star Wars Story, obviously, and then we're going to have the random trade review on formerly known as the Justice League. See you all then. Hey guys, is there a movie you want me to tackle? If it's some stinker like Baywatch or the Emoji Movie or something else? Check out my Patreon at Sleepy Time for Cat Productions. See how you can make that happen.